All right, so I'm back for another week in doing Unreal 4, kind of just any sort of technical work related to Unreal 4. And this week I have decided to take on some Houdini stuff, some Houdini stuff. It's kind of like Houdini, but some Niagara work. And I'm going to confess, I don't know very much about Niagara yet. I have done quite a bit of work with Cascade, but Niagara is definitely an area that I don't know very much about and I would like to know more about. So this might be a very unusual kind of stream because I'm going to be spending a lot of time sort of learning and understanding what I'm doing and trying to build something fairly simple and basic using Niagara as our tool set. Now, currently what we have in our scene is a cinematic. Actually, we have a landscape and a cinematic scene. Let me see if I can get this map open first. Not even sure which one it was now. Posing level? That sounds right. And what we're going to try to do is basically... oh, wait, this isn't it either. Oh, what have I done with this map? Now I've got to find a map. Let's see here. Which one is it? Oh, all right. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter if I can't find the map because we can do this any other way. But it was really cool if I could just find the map I was looking for. That's a map splat. Anyway, so last week we had all these mountains and stuff. This is what I'm trying to get to here. We had a cool scene of like interesting mountains using this character here. And I don't know why I can't find it right now. But anyways, what we want to do is create a Niagara FX that basically the pose that we've got is basically the character here that we have, but the person's kind of jumping over a rock and pointing a gun towards the wall. And I want to be able to get it so that there's not only is the environment and the camera and the animation or the pose there, there's also the ability to shoot a gun and have some VFX as well. Hey buddy, what's going on? Okay. Eric, can you go find Mom? She's probably going to be a lot more help to you right now.
It's going slowly right now.
Oh, well, it sounds like the battery needs to be charged.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. All right, buddy. Just let me work right now. He's definitely did that on purpose, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so that is my older son. He's 5 years old. He likes to come and see what kind of video games I'm playing, which is always fun. So what I'm trying to do, and not having a lot of luck here if I can't find the map, is try to create a Niagara FX where as the character is shooting guns, you know, trying to think there's a gun battle going on and the rocks are getting hit with like bullets and there's like a little bit of debris getting shot off and rock splinters and stuff. It should be able to be a nice, simple effect that's just kind of like a poof of a and maybe some rocks flying off. I think that'll be a lot easier of a first test that we can try doing. And also it would allow us to, let me just make sure everything's good here. Potentially next week, which would be much more interesting well, I mean, I don't know if it's much more interesting, but definitely a lot easier for me on my end, is to animate the character jumping over the rock. So we get a nice animation in there where the character is leaping over the rock and then firing the gun. And maybe we can make some bullet effects as well if we're having some fun with it. But mostly just jumping over the rock, I guess, and have the nice background and lighting and stuff. So I think that's kind of where we're heading. There is even a possibility I was thinking about last night that we could rig up this character using the IK rigging system or just the rigging system alone in 4.25 that they have. It's very beta, definitely not something that's going to be like flawless, but my backup solution would be just to animate this character with the rig that exists in Maya, which is a pretty good rig. This is a free rig you can find online. And but it would be kind of nice opportunity as well, just to see if I could do an animation in Unreal and see if that works as well. So there's a couple of cool experimental ideas that might all integrate into the same cinematic that has the same scene, and that would be ideal. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what the deal is with the map still. I'm pretty sure I saved it. I'm pretty sure it's in there. We even have some of the Megascan assets that we were using, like this rock that we're jumping over. And technically the cinematic is still going to be holding onto the scene. You can actually see the whole scene right there in the thumbnail. If I jump into this camera, we got the pose and some of the sky background here already. All we're really missing is the environment, the spring landscape here. Oh, here's the map. Overview map. I don't know why I couldn't find that for the longest time. I guess it's not technically a map asset. I don't know what's going on there. There we go. Now we've got our cool landscape that basically this was a free asset, or it is a free asset for June in the marketplace for Unreal. You can get this background, and then we just added the new sky atmosphere lighting system into it. It's like click and play and you'll be ready to go. So we jump back to our cinematic where we have our character pose, sequencer. Come on, open it up. Master. Maybe we just want to do the symmetry pose first. Yeah, it's not even integrated in here. Oh, yes it is. There it is. Once you, basically, I usually like to work where you have two sequencer files. You have one that is your working file, and then you have another one that is your master file, which will hold the working file in it. So then you can easily just add or remove shots. Like you're working on more of a shot basis rather than you know, one ginormous scene. So this is basically our shot. And currently we have placeholder Niagara FX that we just threw in there. They're really just straight up default particles, and they'll just play whether or not I'm playing the timeline or not. And I was thinking maybe we were going to have some dust or something, but I think it would be cooler to have little bullet ricochets off the rock and maybe off the dirt, and just keep reusing the same asset and pop it around a little bit as we're playing this animation of the girl jumping over the rock. And then maybe we could figure out some kind of blue plasma ball thing to fire out of here. My goal is not really to talk all about VFX and stuff, because this really isn't my area that I know very well, but it would be a fun to kind of play around with Niagara and see what kind of things we can do. And then who knows, maybe as the weeks go on, we can keep coming back and say, oh, we just found out something else about what we can do, and tweak it out. Maybe we'll have a nice, cool finished shot. Maybe we'll think of another idea where we can integrate this shot into another shot and we'll turn it into something cool. But what I'm getting away from this is just trying out all these new tools that keep coming out every couple months. All right, so enough talk. Let's start learning how to use Niagara. And where did I put the VFX? Here it is. So then we've got a Niagara system and a Niagara emitter. So every emitter, as far as I know, needs a system to be able to have it play in the scene. So down here is our system, and then this is the emitter that is playing inside of it. It's got a very, my first impression is like it's a nice hybrid of blueprints and using Cascade, where you've got this nice node-based wiring system that we're kind of familiar with, or at least I think that's what this is. Maybe not. I can't even right-click on it, so maybe this is not really what I'm thinking it is. But it's also the way Cascade was kind of laid out was the other VFX tools. You'd have all these different types of basically modifiers that you put on your VFX, and each one would have a sort of a different role, you know, based on the color of the life and that sort of thing, and you could really manipulate what you wanted to do. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of follow of that kind of basically the workflows are brought across from Sequencer. Anyways, So here's a really basic tutorial that I quickly searched just before the switch started. And it's one of the basic tutorials from Unreal. It's Niagara Quick Start. Luckily, what they're doing is creating little poofs of dust underneath the feet, which kind of works out well because we want poofs of dust as well. And then maybe we'll just add some meshes, rock shard meshes that we'll get from mega scans or something, and get them to fly away as well, and they'll maybe bounce on the ground or something. But all we want really right now is a little bit of smoke. And so the way this tutorial kind of starts is, oh, you know what? I'm not doing my screen share. I can't believe I did that again. All right. Boy, boy. All right. I guess technically I haven't really been doing too much yet, so just talking. I got to stop doing that, though. I did that before, too. All right. Here we are. So we got, oh, yeah. So let me I go recap what I was doing here. Luckily, I don't have too many people probably watching. Nobody's commented anything about me not showing my screen again. You guys got to tell me these things. So here's our scene. We've got a nice environment. We've got these placeholder Niagara FX and a rock that is from Megascans. And then this is the environment that's free asset that you can get this month from the Unreal Marketplace. And then we're using the skylight. That's what we did last week. All right, so now I've opened up this Niagara emitter. Here's the emitter. Oh yeah, tutorial. Trying to think of all the other things I may have done while I didn't have my screen share on. Okay, so the first thing they got to do is basically build a particle that will, or a material that's gonna allow us to see the smoke effects, and that's probably going to be very similar to the cascade workflow. Oh, this is interesting though. He's creating a mesh shape, so I don't know what that means. Maybe the dust cloud is going to be drawn on a mesh, a 3D mesh, instead of flat sprite planes. Wow, it's actually telling me to model them? A small cloud shape. Oh, all right. Oh, let's do it. Do this properly. I don't know if the cloud shape is really what I'm looking for. I mean, the particle effect itself looks kind of lame. I thought I could have just done this with sprites. We'll do it this way, because maybe there's something advantageous using Houdini now with 3D meshes. So I'm going to open up Maya, and we're going to create some spheres, combine them together. Oh, I have Natty Steph saying hi, hello, and Philippe. Hey, that's the same Philippe I think I knew before. And Jano 3D, nice. Hello, hello. Good day, in fact. Hey, yeah. Are you in advanced modeling still, Philippe? Is that what you took? After foundations? I'm going to assume yes. I should probably make these lower poly. Not even sure what if the UVs matter or not. It's like, I don't really know what we're doing with it. I just said make some shapes. Oops. Oh, let's put my key press on. Ah, okay. So you were just finishing the Houdini one. That was all that was going on there. Oh, you posted on the on Slack for a project that you're going to work with other people. How's that going? What's that all about? That sounds like a cool idea. Or at least it's great to see a cooperative project get started anyways. Especially if you've got someone else who's already on board with you. Yeah. Isn't that always the case though? Well, I'm glad we made that channel just for that one reason, so that you could have a place to present your ideas. I think what you're going to have to do is kind of like a Kickstarter campaign and just keep throwing out like, here's some interesting content that we're working on. Here's this thing. And you just got to keep like selling it and hoping that somebody jumps on and is able to contribute. I've definitely worked on a project that where it's like it's been ongoing for so many years. It's like oh goodness, I can't even remember the name of the title of the game now. It's ridiculous. But anyway, it's not even important. The point is, it's like this game that's been like, basically we've been working on it, and I'm not even me specifically, but I've been part of the team and sort of helping out with it. Arms of Redemption. Arms of Redemption, I think is it. I can't even remember. It's just like this project that we've been pitching, or at least the guy that's running it has been pitching it to all these people. It's always been kind of running. Well, actually, I think it had a little bit of life in UE3, and then it's been just sort of UE4 going and going and going and going and going. And I always kind of had a feeling it was never going to go anywhere. But I just thought, well, you know, it's great for me because I'm learning a lot of stuff. And we were able to get going on the engine really early when it was still like in beta and stuff like that. And it was a great learning experience. So from that perspective, I was really enjoying the process. But from the perspective of us actually making a project that's going to go anywhere, it's always been like, yeah, this is not going to work out. This is just not going to work out. But the guy that's leading it, he's relentless. He's just pushing. And so we've had so much turnover. Like, it's just insane. And we pitch the idea out there and get lots of people coming in who are interested, and then they come and do a little bit of work, and then they realize this project's not going anywhere, and they take off. And so we have like all this like little bits of contribution from a whole bunch of people, and everybody comes on has to like sync to our Perforce, or actually we're not using Perforce anymore, it's SVN, and sync to all the data, and then they work for like 2 weeks, and then they take off. It's just not working. It's not a very good example. It's one of these examples that you don't want to use to inspire you to do a cooperative project. It's like, this is what happens when things don't go properly. Anyway, what have I got this into 0. I got morph down. I guess I'll delete the history for fun. I'll export this out. I don't even know how big it is. Looks like it's just a few units high. Let's do a measure tool if I can. If I can remember where it is. Measure tool distance. Oh man, come on. It's about 4 centimeters. All right. Yeah, that sounds good. So we'll export this out as an FBX. Yeah, any open source project is probably dealing with the same problems. But I think if you have an idea and you have a leader who's really good, and you have sort of the commitment from a lot of people that will really like feel like you're on a fast moving train that's going to go somewhere, then I think it works. It kind of snowballs and it becomes its own thing. You know, right up until somebody starts making money, and then all of a sudden everything goes nuts. like Luckily, that project that I was talking about has not gotten there, so we're not worrying about that problem. But as soon as you start dealing with money, it's like, oh goodness, now we've got another issue. Let's see where have I got these projects here. Source, characters, do VFX this time. Selection. Yeah, it always is a problem. You're right. It's too bad we all have to live on money. If we could just like make stuff for fun, it would be so much easier. Of course, nobody would ever do anything. It's like you'd have all these unfinished projects. All right. So here's our mesh. So I'm going to import this in. I guess we'll put it in here. And I'll import. Oh, look, it crashed when I was trying to import. That's not a good sign. I've had some weird problems with Unreal 4.25 as of like the last couple days even. And I know there hasn't been any updates or hasn't changed anything, but just there's 2 times I've opened a project and it's just been loading and loading. And there was one time it loaded so bad that like I couldn't even close it. Like I couldn't even go to Task Manager and Task. It said access denied. And I'm like, I've never had that before. I have no idea why it was so stuck open and loading infinitely, not even really doing anything. And I was like, yeah, that's not working. I had to reboot my computer to get that window to go away. Okay, I told it to restart Unreal after it closed. Maybe I didn't tell it to restart. I don't know. Let me try opening it again. I'll do this again. But I need to use 4.25 because that's where all these features are. Like, it's very important that I actually use the latest version right now. Otherwise, I won't have any of these tools. Well, Niagara was there, but it just wasn't it wasn't out of beta yet. All right, here we are again. Oh, I still got my meshes folder. Let me try this again. Import. Okay. No, crash. Wow, is it the folder that it's trying to go to? What is going on right now? Maybe I'll have to delete my my intermediate settings and stuff. Let's just try that first. Otherwise, I'll have to start with a new project or something. Oh, I got derived data cache in there. Huh. It's probably from the other project. I'm just going to get rid of it and rebuild it. I should keep my eye on whether or not there's any updates for Unreal 2.5 anyways, 4.25. Because I don't think they've come up with an update. Or maybe they have. I don't know. Let me check. Oh, they have at least one update since the release. All right, one more time. See, it's a different folder. Oh, still crashed. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, next plan. New project. See if we can get anything to import. I have not had this problem before. I don't know what is going on, whether it's my project or what. Oh, I got a message here. What do I think about UE5? There is, boy, I've had so many students ask me this question. That's funny that I get it again here. Okay, so from my experience with when UE4 came out and how it worked, it was definitely like we went from very early days of like, I mean, basically UE3 is totally different than UE4. So there's a huge jump that happened there. Like even just the unit sizes are different. So it was like you couldn't even import assets from UE3 and bring it into UE4 without it looking 1.5 times too big. But they also changed all the rendering engine. It was like a huge change. And so early adopters of UE4 was like there's just nobody else was using it, even though it looked really nice, but it was like just not very finished. There was a lot of features that were not working yet, and it was just like, I don't know, it was kind of ridiculous. You just you do these demo reels, or we had this scenario where we made this portfolio using UE4, and we were showing off all these great techniques that you can do, and all these, you can do all this great stuff in blueprints. That was something you couldn't do in UE3. And it was like, look at how great this is. It looks awesome. But nobody cared because nobody's using UE4. It was like, yeah, well, that doesn't help me at all. So it wasn't for like, this was back in 2014 or something. And so it took many years before like it became standardized and normal. And even when we were making course content for CG Spectrum, it was like, everybody was like, what about Unity? I think everybody uses Unity. It's UE4. What is it's too high end. It's too off the beaten path for what we want to teach. And there was some truth to the argument, but for artists, it's amazing. It's like the best tool ever made for like artists. And so I was really pushing to keep making sure we learn UE4. So to go back to the question, you got UE5. It's another new tool. It's supposed to be a lot more easier to integrate into UE4. So we should be able to go from like UE4, whatever the latest version, and just save it to UE5. And it should be able to transfer all your assets over, I guess, or so they say. So it should be a fairly easy transition. But when you get into this other rendering engine that is like optimized for amazing, being able to draw a lot of detail very efficiently, you're still going to have the problem where you're learning a tool that nobody else has actually been able to implement yet because of technology hasn't been caught up yet. Like especially when you're talking about pipelines for what people are going to do when they're bringing their 3D assets, they're creating their custom assets and bringing them into the engine. Like how is that pipeline going to make sense to be able to match that quality that you're getting from UE5? And then, as you get into this new engine, how many tools are going to be compatible? Are they going to have to rewrite things to, like Niagara, for example, is going to have to go through some ordeals or whatever? Like, how many tools are you going to have access to when you're in UE5, and what are you getting out of it? Is your final content even going to utilize this new feature, or is it just going to look the same as what you could achieve in UE4? So there's a lot of questions that haven't been answered, and there's a lot of bottlenecks just hardware-wise to be able to maintain that kind of quality. So I just think it's going to take a long time before, just like the last version, it's going to take some time for everybody to catch up. And what's funny is because a lot of the new students come to me and they say, well, what are we going to learn UE5? I'm like, well, we could, but I mean, I just don't think it's going to be the best use of your time right now. Like I think when we finally get access to it, I think it's still going to be, let's learn and make sure that we've got all the tools figured out for what we're trying to do today, because that's where most of the game productions are being done. Sometimes study real-time engine lighting. I guess I better wait for UE5 release then. The nice thing about the new engine definitely is that you're gonna not have to worry about optimizing as much, or at least that's what it seems like when you get into the engine. It's like, I'll just make some more lights, so I'll add some more meshes, I'll make some more lights, and I'll make it look pretty, and then it's like, yeah, it still runs okay. I don't have to optimize. I mean, that's like the dream world for an artist. But trying to make a custom asset in ZBrush and then rigging it with in Maya when it's got like millions of polygons is just not. That's going to be a nightmare. That's the opposite side of the spectrum. One day Unreal will dominate the world. Yeah, I think that's what they're basically saying when they do their little pitches. They're like, oh yeah, we got film industry, architectural, we got everything. It's all one package. Yeah, exactly. Implementing VFX in a game engine. That it definitely is like, I think that's where Niagara, which is what I'm still trying to open my file here. I think that's where Niagara really is like an interesting software, because they're really, now they have the foresight of what they want to achieve with the new VFX tools and what the limitations were with Cascade. So they've made it, and this is a similar story to when we made Sequencer, which is the new cinematic tool, versus Matinee, which is the old one. They were able to have the foresight of like, okay, this is what the engine is, this is what the market is, this is what the people need. So let's cater the tool to make sure that that fits. But now, but with Niagara, I think it's the same story. It's just it's happening a little bit later. All right, let's do a blank scene. So I have absolutely nothing that can get in the way. Make sure I don't have starter content. Asset library. Okay. Let's call this test. I gotta get used to switching my cams when I'm having a little chat. All right. So let's see here. We go to, let's just import the asset. See what happens here. We're not even importing it. We're just opening the window to import. Okay, so it didn't crash. Oh, it does crash. It still crashes. That's awesome. I have no idea why it's crashing right now. I've imported assets before, I'm pretty sure. Wow, we are really in a tough spot here. Oh, how about we open it on Unreal 4? I mean 2.4, and then we merge the asset into Unreal 2.5. What a workaround. All right, let's try it. I don't think it'll take that long. It'll be interesting to test anyways. Let's see if I can. I have to get rid of that other one I made. So in 2.0, now it's put in the E drive. All right, whatever. I'll do this then. I'm in 4.24 this time. I can technically open a project and decide what version I want to open it with, but particularly with 4.25, it's not something you can open reverse compatible again. Oh yeah, so I'm just importing. So basic. Come on, guys. All right, it didn't crash. So there, making some progress here. Now I gotta find what I was doing again. Oh, what did I export it as? Jeez. All right, jump back here for a minute. Export selection. It's a Maya file. There it is, FBX. VFX. All right. Dust cloud. It's possible that I've never imported anything in 4.25, except for maybe like mega scan assets, which goes through the bridge. So maybe that's why I've never experienced that issue. All right, so I'm importing this static mesh. It's not going to be a skeletal mesh. I'm just going to import the FBX. No smoothing groups, that's fine. So here's our tiny little 4 centimeter asset. Oh, I forgot to soften the edges. Luckily, once you've exported it, it's very easy to update. You just have to go re-import base mesh. There we go. All right, so we're going to keep that one. And then we're going to do save all of our assets. And then I can migrate it by going to asset actions migrate, but I could just copy paste the assets in this case, as long as I keep them in the same folder, which is basically going to be the root folder. It should be pretty easy to do. So under test, content, here's our two assets that are saved. And we go to the character sets, content, VFX. Oh, now I got to keep it in the same folder. Didn't listen to my own advice. There we go. All it means, if I don't do it correctly, it just means the Lambert won't be connected to the dust cloud asset. So that's not too painful. But if you have a whole bunch of assets and you're pasting them into another content folder, you got to be really careful that you're not putting them in a different subfolder, because then it will disconnect all of their connections, and it's easier to delete it and start over than it is to try to reconnect all these pieces together sometimes. All right, so let's open up the, maybe I'll just keep this editor open so that in case of another thing I have to import, I can just do it. And it's possible that now that I've got the raw asset imported, I can maybe do a workaround where anything I need to update, I just do a re-import and get it to update. All right, so those assets should be right here. No, right here. There they are. So most of the time when you're moving stuff around, you should be doing it in the editor. Otherwise, you'll make a real mess of things. And if, yeah, I won't get too much detail about that because it's kind of boring. So let's open up our map, which is hidden in here. And we'll, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. Let's go back to the tutorial. That's what I'm trying to do. Boy, it's been so long since I was at the tutorial level here. Import the meshes, create a new material. I guess we already have a base material for it. It's just the Lambert one. I'm gonna have to keep this tutorial pinned. Name the new material Dust Proof. Okay. M for material. That's awesome that they're using the same naming conventions that I've been trying to push on everybody. And for like static meshes, you do SM dust cloud. With the main material node, locate the material section. Okay, so basically they want to go here, I guess. Select the main material node of that Lambert, go into the details, and we want to change the blend mode to translucent because it's going to be fairly translucent, I guess. And we want to make sure it's a two-sided mesh. We're going to create a particle color, which is going to pull data from Niagara. Well, it's going to pull data from wherever, I guess. But I think the idea is Niagara is going to be able to send data to your particle, to your mesh from this, through this node. Which is, I guess, is not what I said originally, but that's what I was... This is where the connection is anyway. Plug the top output into the base color. You Interesting that that was originally a parameter as opposed to just a regular texture. Parameter is something that you can externally reference if you need to. If you did like a material instance, you'd be able to refer to that parameter. Create a texture sample node by doing this whole T. Oh, that's cool. There, like this is what I usually, as opposed to a parameter, you could have a texture sample. Oh, this is interesting. We're going to use noise. I assume this is a noise texture, not a noise dynamic procedural. Probably within the engine. Yeah. Presets. In the dropdown, click type noise. What? Material expression texture base. This is masks based on the picture here. Oh, this is a search. I've already done that word. Apparently I'm looking for a T-Perlin noise, so I did the wrong one. I'm gonna do it again. Perlin? Yeah, that's not working. I kind of like our noise, even though it's not necessarily the one they want. Looks pretty similar, but not quite. Was I supposed to import this node or something? What's going on here? We're just going to use this noise. It'll be fine. Masks, and then dynamic parameter. Right click on the graph, type dynamic. Oh, we're going to use a dynamic parameter. Interesting. Another thing that we can talk with Niagara with. And this one's a lot more customizable. So, erode. Oops, what did I do here? Value step? I don't know what a value step does. Oops, this is the wrong node. Okay, so the erode is going into the value step as the mask offset value. So I guess we're going to control that from Niagara. And then the gradient is just going to be mask offset. So I almost feel like this is going to enable or disable the texture from showing, but not sure. Drag the results into the opacity. Sure does seem like it. What's wrong with this one? Should be a color for a MS texture noise mask. Must be like a RGB color instead of a black and white or something. Well, that's lame. I don't really know why I can't find that texture. Let me just do a quick search on the full. We'll show all the engine content and we'll do a search for yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was in the starter content. It's so lame. I don't really know whether this is important or not. I'm like, I could just switch it back to color, I guess. I just don't want to like spend all this time troubleshooting something that's totally irrelevant. Where was the texture name here? Does seem like it was part of the starter content. All right, let's go to our Unreal 2.4.24. And I think we can just, can we add the starter content? How do we do that again? There was a button that allowed us to like do it, I thought. I don't remember how to do it. All right. Don't really want to make a new project again. Just so I can add starter content. I can't remember how to do it otherwise. The funny thing is you can't seem to ever get rid of starter content once you add it. So I never usually add it. And then when I actually wanted it, I'm like, oh goodness, I can't get it to show up. It's one or the other. All right, let's see if we can find this texture. There it is. All right, we're gonna do an asset migrate this time. So it just grabs the texture. We're gonna throw it directly into our project, right where we want it. So right into the meshes here. Oh wait, that's not what I wanted to do. I forgot that you have to actually put it in the content. Otherwise it's gonna create all the subfolders. Okay, and then we'll go back to what we were doing here. I don't know if it'll show up. Oh, there it is. Starter content, textures. Moved, instantly showed up. Doesn't always do that. That's pretty unusual, actually. Let me just drag it over here. Meshes, move. It's our long lost Perlin noise that we were looking for this whole time. All right. Now it's masks. It's okay. It's happy. It's not happy. What? Where's the error? Node if input A, it must be type of float. What? Okay, it was something to do with that texture. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, it's a single value. Let me just double check here. Maybe we have a discrepancy with the tutorial. We're only pulling the red. No, we're not. We're pulling all of them. Wait, no, we are. Like they changed it. Drag off the RGB output to the gradient. Drag off the erode. But then all of a sudden now it's coming out of the R instead of RGB. That was hilarious. Did a little switcheroo on us. It makes sense though. You can't have a triple value in there. Okay. I gotta go find the texture again. Wow, this is a lot slower than I expected to get through these things. I actually kind of thought this would go pretty quick. Apply, save, material editor, good. All right, now we go to the part that's important here. We already have a Niagara system set up. We're just going to use the same one that exists. Make sure I save all. Let's open up the system. Might be a bit of a disaster if I do this, but whatever. System from selected emitters. Simple sprite burst. Maybe it is going to be a disaster. Maybe I should... what do I got here? Niagara system. New Niagara emitter. And make a new emitter that has the default of the single sprite boost that they're talking about here. FX emitter. From a template. Directional burst. Simple sprite burst. It's kind of weird that we're using sprites again. All right, there it is. Simple sprite burst. And then, oh, is that not how that works? There we go. I should really maybe get rid of this old one. Oh, we got some references still. Get rid of the old one. This is the simple sprite burst. All right, let's add the simple sprite burst to our Niagara system. Oh, I'm supposed to call it something else. Oh no, the system. Okay, good. Sounds good. Let's do that. Rename this to FX is the new name. Footstep. Oh, maybe this isn't going to be footstep. It's going to be gunshot or ricochet. Oh god, I don't know how to spell ricochet. That's not an easy one. Please help Google. Oh goodness, I don't even know if that's the right spelling. Oh yeah, that's it. That really is a hard word. And ricochet. Test proof. Poof. Oh, you can just name it on the top. Okay, still does it. Until you set your mesh and material in the renderer, you will not see anything in your preview. So in the systems overview, select render, open it, selection panel. Cool. Okay, that's good to know. Are we picking this one? Yep. Oh, no, wait, this one. Here's our default sprite material. And we're going to replace that, I assume. Oh, it's a trash can. Wow. Okay, what does this mean? System overview, select render, and open it. Selection panel. Delete the sprite renderer. Click the plus sign for a mesh renderer. And put in your mesh particle. Yeah, I thought that was a bit weird. So yeah, we're literally getting rid of it. Oh wait, it's not letting me. It was so logical right up until I had to do something. Wait, we're renaming the emitter here. See, I've got it. Well, that's all right. We'll just call this dust poof. Oh, you do it over there now. Sprite render. What if I disable it? Does that let me delete it? This renderer cannot be deleted because it is inherited. Well, let's just make a mesh renderer. Don't understand what that means. Something must be using it, I guess. I don't know. Emitter state. All right, we have our mesh renderer. We're going to use our mesh cloud, dust cloud. Do we see it yet? Here it is. So far, it's not been going particularly smoothly. Until you set your mesh and material in the renderer, you will not see anything in your preview. So in the systems overview, select renderer, open it in the selection panel, click the trash can icon, click the plus sign, click the drop down, click to enable override materials. I forget what I was calling it. Dust poof. Okay, we got our material. Click the drop down next to explicit material. Oh, that was what I just did. For facing mode, click the drop down for velocity. Okay. From the content browser, drag your Niagara system into your level. Okay, I'm getting a call and I don't know how to turn it off. That was weird. My phone was in silent mode and yet it still rang. I don't know why I did that. Facing mode, click the drop down. Oh yeah, I got that already. From the content browser, drag your Niagara emitter system into your level. Position it near the foot of the player, the character, so that it affects in relationship to the player. Just in your level. When you make the particle effect, it's always good to drag the system into your level. This gives you a chance to see every change in the edit context. After completing the selection, you have a Niagara system and emitter system instance, and you have to drag the system to the level and preview it in the player character. The next part in the editor settings with Niagara system to create a dust cloud effect. I just clicked that button. I don't know why. It just told me to click it. I don't know why it's a button. Niagara editor displays each emitter as a stack and several groups of settings. Oh yeah, so I guess I should put it in the scene. I think I already do actually. But we'll just start saving things. Make sure it's all nicely saved. These ones are supposed to be saved too. How come we're not getting add to content browser here? Source control, mark for add. And this is probably it right here. Press G to go in game mode. Whoop, where is it? Yeah, I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna keep going here. Some effects you create may have some modules in the emitter spawn group or in the systems group. Effects you are creating does not, so I'm skipping those groups. Okay. Let me read that again. The Niagara editor displays each emitter as a stack. Right. And the several groups of settings. Yes. You will edit the modules each time, one at a time. First, you will edit the modules in the emitter update group. These behaviors that apply to the emitter that update each frame. Okay. In the systems overview, click the emitter update group. Let's do it. Wait, appear emitter update. Expand the emitter state module. By default, the life cycle mode should be set to self. What were our other options? System. Change the emitter state settings to the following values. That'll be good. Infinite. And 1 second duration. Complete let particles finish. Self. Change the emitter. This will give you dust poof that appears once and then dissipates. Okay. Click image for full size. That's not helpful. Life cycle mode complete once. Huh. It says infinite, not once. Ugh, documentation is not perfect. Loop duration mode is fixed. They got rid of that option altogether, it looks like. Expand the spawn burst instantaneous module. Set the spawn count to 10. A spawn count of 10 gives us a dust cloud that is big enough to be visible, but small enough to be plausible. Spawn particle settings. You will edit the modules in the particle spawn group. These are behaviors that apply to particles when they first spawn. Okay, so we're going to pick the spawn, particle spawn, and open it in the selection panel. Expand the initialized particle. Got it. Under point attributes, locate lifetime setting. Click the small arrow next to lifetime. And select dynamic inputs uniform ridge ranged. Float? Oh yeah, float. Okay, wow. Random range. Picks a random uniform float value between minimum and maximum. All right, well, that makes more sense. Minimum maximum fields for lifetime value. We are modifying the particle spawn. Okay, so we're already determining its lifetime length with a randomized value. This will add some variation in how long each particle displays. Set the minimum maximum fields to the following, 0.4, 0.6. Oops. Locate the color settings in this example. Color is set to a light tan color. One 0.85, 0.57. Can't say this looks really like that different yet, so I'm concerned. Plus I can't really zoom in on it very well, I'm noticing. It's really tiny, I guess. I'll have to scale it up so I can see what's going on. Under the mesh attributes, locate mesh scale. Oh, in here, mesh attributes. Mesh scale. Oh, geez, they're going to do it for me here. I didn't have to just jump in the gun. X, Y, and Z fields. Click the small arrow. Select dynamic inputs, uniform range. Like I feel like there's a real similarity to what we were doing here as to what we were doing at Cascade, but they definitely have a much larger array of options. It's very, I think we only had like 4 or 5 different choices. You know, it's like there's folders of choices. I don't even know what half of these things are going to mean. So we want a value 111 and then 222. Pick the plus sign for the particle spawn. Sorry, I just need to make sure there's nothing going on. Plus sign, particle spawn, orientation. Wow, up here? Wow. What are we going to make? Select orientation. Initial mesh orientation. Oh, we just made a new module, or whatever they're calling it. I forget what they called it. Rotation settings for your particle mesh. Oh, okay, so we're going to rotate them a bit. That makes sense. So rotation of the shape, so it's less uniform. Initial mesh orientation. That's what we just picked, sorry. Under orientation, click and disable orientation vector. Because you do not need this effect for no apparent reason. Under rotation, click and enable rotation. Click the downward arrow next to the rotation. Select dynamic inputs, uniformed range, vector. This will give you a small amount of random rotation you want. Leave minimum maximum values of, oh, at their default. Oh yeah, we're doing the uniform random ranged vector again. I guess a value of 0 to 1 must be 0 to 360 degrees or something. I don't know why 1 seems so small. Click the plus sign icon for spawn particle. And now we're going to create a location, cylinder location. What is this going to do? Cylinder location constrains the spawning of particles to a cylinder shape. Oh, look at this. It's working. Ooh, they're sticking to a cylinder shape. Actually, I don't know. Maybe that was the previous thing. Let me disable that. Yeah, no, that's the cylinder shape doing this. All right. You want the dust cloud to stay close to the ground, so change the cylinder height to 1. Oh, yeah, there you go. You do not want the dust cloud to be much bigger than a foot. So change the thing to radius to 10. Okay. Yeah, this is like for the footsteps. Well, I think I'll be able to take this and work with it. Maybe we'll be able to make it just kind of like shoot out from this little pack of particles. Finally, you will edit the setting in the particle updater update group. What? These behaviors apply to particles and update on each frame. Click on the trash can icon to delete the scalar color. Oh, here's the particle update. Okay, so we're in the next group. Oh, that's interesting. So these are little groups, subgroups. Okay, well, I'll get used to that. Never usually had subgroups before in Cascade. Well, kind of, but it was not so. Usually they all get mixed together. But this is maybe more logical. Particle spawn, and then this is particle update, so it's sort of a different section. Anyways, so scale a color. We don't want it, so we're going to trash can it, which never lets me do. So we're just going to disable it. Still don't quite understand why. It's probably because of something weird I did when I set it up. click the plus sign to add for particle update to add a materials. Dynamic material parameter. Oh, okay, here we go. That's the dynamic material parameter that's going to be talking to the... look at this. It's already got the road in there. Nice. So this is the material that we added. It's feeding data right through here. Must have picked up that it found the material. This is how you will connect the road dynamic parameter to your material. See, this is a slightly different process of how you talk to your materials through, like even with Cascade, it was like this too. But then if you were to try to do like a blueprint to a material, this is like a direct wiring from Niagara to the material. So you don't have to have another, I don't know, layer of data being talked through. If that makes any sense. You can drag, reorder modules. However, you cannot reorder modules in the selection panel. So you can't do it over here, but you can do it over here, it says, I think. So I created the dynamic material parameter. It's got the erode checked in. I probably don't need all the other ones. Oh, it's going to talk about it. You should see the erode. Click the downward arrow for the erode and select dynamic input, float to a curve, float from a curve. Ah, interesting. Float from a curve. So we're going to be able to decide how it handles the lifetime, I guess, or something like that. In the curve, right click around the middle of the line to add a key. There should now be 3 keys on your curve. And you will set the keys so the dust cloud is opaque at the beginning of its life, but then thins and breaks apart over its age. So I think it's inverted. Whoa, what's this little hook thing? Show this curve in the curves tab. Oh, we have a curves tab. Fancy. Wait, I think I read that wrong. And when it says, or at least I thought about it wrong. You should set the keys so the dust cloud is opaque at the beginning of its life and then thins and breaks apart over its age. So opaque, I guess, meaning visible. So, although I would have thought opaque was the opposite, but that's okay. I'm obviously not thinking about that correctly. And, oops, let's put that key back. Oh, wait. I just drag it over here. All right, so there we go. I could have done it down here as well, I guess. So we're staying fairly visible, and then at the end it breaks down. Oh, we have numbers to put in. So it goes for 0.75 as a value. No, as a time. Well, as a time as well. And then the end value is actually at 1. Oh yeah, that is 0, 1. Okay, good. Plus sign icon for the particle updates. Select velocity, add velocity from point. Plus sign from the particle update. Add a, what were we adding again? Particle velocity. Add velocity from point. This velocity from point makes the particles move out from the designated location. Sure did. I don't even see them anymore. Oh, there they go. At the designated speed. Wow, that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's like it's doing it for me.
I have a feeling they're going to pull it back a lot, though. Add velocity from point. That makes perfect sense. At a designated speed, you use this so the dust cloud particles start at the foot and move out from there. An error displays after you add a velocity or force module because added modules are always positioned at the bottom of this group stack. That positioning places them after the solve forces and velocity module. Click Fix Issue to resolve the error. Oh yeah, here's our little error. Oh yeah, all kinds of errors here. It says Fix Issue. Ah, I put it to the top of the stack instead of the bottom. Cool. In the add velocity from point module, set the velocity strength to 2.5. Ah, yes, this is going to ruin my effect here. I'll have to remember to come back to this. Here's a little puff of cloud. Oh, look, and the texture dissipates too. Click the plus sign for particle updates and create a forces. Forces acceleration force. I feel like we're going to do a negative acceleration force. Let's fix that issue. Interesting that it puts it below the add velocity from point. I wonder what these little icons mean. Forces, velocity, position, adds transient force, velocity. This one requires forces and velocity. I wonder how useful that is. All right. Acceleration. You're going to use this to give the cloud dust a small amount of upward momentum. Oh, I see, upward momentum. Dust cloud separates out from the footstep. Error displays after you add velocity from the force module because the added modules are always positioned at the bottom of the group stack. That positioning places them after the solve forces. Okay, sounds good. Here's our accelerated force. Accelerated force of 0, 0, and 200. Wow, that really does make it go upward. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but whatever. Now the dust cloud spreads out and up, but the upward momentum is a little too much. Oh yeah, well, there you go. So you'll have to add some drag. Oh, okay, I get it. Particle update, select forces and drag. Let's fix the issue. Oh, yeah, look, it's another forces. Oh, that makes sense. This one pushes it. These ones are manipulating it. Wait, this one pushes it? Yeah, I guess so. Well, it's not really pushes it. It's the initial velocity. So this one's like it spawns with speed, and these ones are like it adds speed to the existing speed. I don't know. I guess that makes sense. All right. An error displays when you add a velocity or force module. Right. We're just talking about the same thing. In the drag module, set the drag to 12. All right, so fairly high drag. And we should get, oh yeah, kind of slows down, I guess. So it doesn't seem too unrealistic. You've created the dust effect. You should now be able to see it in your level. Next to the start model. If the effect does not look right to you, you can adjust it from various settings. Let's see what it looks like in the level. Ooh, it looks very orange. I guess it's because our environment looks very orange right now. And to be fair, our texture for our material of our object is extremely clear cut. There's not much to it. It's just basically one simple color, if I remember correctly. So now we're going to attach it to the character. Okay, well, this part I'm not sure if we need to know, because that would be useful if we were trying to... Oh, we can just browse through it, I guess. But it would be useful if we were trying to, like, do the footsteps, but... and see if it's the same process as I was expecting. So well, I understand. You open up the animation, you go to their animation timeline, you can start adding animation notifies, and then you can call them, you can make a new notify to your own name. Oh, there's a Niagara particle effect notify. That's very specific. That never used to be there. So that's handy. And then you would, hey, I got it. Looks good. Thanks, Philippe. And then you would add notify that has the same name, I guess, is really the key part here. Oh, also, are you trying to put it on a certain joint? This is where you select the Niagara system and add to the animation. Click the drop down next to Niagara systems and select the VFX footstep dust proof. Okay, so you're just picking the emitter. No, you're picking the system. Okay. And that would only ever happen when the anim notify gets triggered on the animation timeline of the run cycle. So, which is, I would assume, at the point where the foot touches the ground. And then it would just trigger the anim notify, which triggers the dust particle, which spawns. And for some reason, I don't really know why, but wouldn't it just keep playing on infinitely? How does it know to, like, stop? I'm just going to finish all these. I'm finishing them. Oh yeah, I'm working on it. It's finishing. Now that you have created a basic effect, attach to your character, try and some other related how-tos. Ribbon trail. Check out your animation how-tos and learn how to create and modify additional animations for your character. That's a weird connection. Animation blueprints, so you can do even more with your character. All right, well, that's not really... It's going on a different direction. I missed a checkbox. I gotta go back up to the top here. Where was this? Project setup. Oh yeah. Oh, it's actually missed out. Goals, objectives, build the mesh. Done. Yay! Completed all the tasks. All right. So what was I doing again? Oh yeah. Let's see if we can make this look a little bit more like. Some sort of dusting. I never really did figure out how to make it so it only performs once, but this is the same kind of problem we had with Cascade as well. It was like if you had an emitter that only shot once, it would never be able to go again until you somehow told it to go again, which happened through like blueprints and stuff. You would think that this might be part of like the system. Loop behavior infinite, loop duration for 5 seconds. So, you know, if I said once, it did say once. Oh yeah, that was that part of the tutorial where it was like the picture showed infinite, but the next document said once. So let me go back to that because I want to see if there's anything else was different there. Where was that discrepancy? There it is. Infinite 1. And it says once 1. Complete. All right, so that's probably how it works. So I bet you it's not going to play anymore. Oh, it's going to play once? Oh, it's playing all the time. Oh, maybe I haven't saved it, compiled it. I don't know. Now it seems to be playing all the time. Well, maybe it's set up to play over and over again once it's finished. Whoa, where did my land go? But in the game, maybe it'll only play once. If I play it, oh yeah, no, so I'll take that back. It's totally not listening to me right now. Oh, wait, what's this? System and emitters die immediately. Let emitters finish, then kill the system. No, that's exactly what I thought it would do, but it's not doing it. Loop behavior once. You know what's interesting is like you've got this system. Nowhere in here does it talk about connections to this emitter, but yet just because it's there, it works. So you don't have to actually. Oh, look, here it is again. Loop behavior. So there's two of them, which is even more confusing to me right now. All right, so we're gonna make this infinite. We're gonna make this once. Now what? Yes, it stopped going over and over again. But it still goes over and over again over here because once it dies, it just builds it again. All right, this is more what I'm familiar with. So you get like a one-shot go, which, you know, it doesn't really work that great if you're trying to demonstrate your piece. But if you had it so that it was in a sequencer file, you could just be triggering that emitter when you want to at certain times. So let's throw it into the sequencer, and then we can start playing with it and see what it looks like from the camera. A lot of functions. Yes, there is. This is this is why I am learning Niagara as a Twitch stream, because I'm like, I haven't been motivated to sit down and figure it out. It's actually, the nice thing I'm finding with it is it does have a lot of similarities to Cascade, which is great for, you know, everybody who's ever learned Cascade. It means that they can kind of pick this up and go, okay, I think I got it, and then you can kind of just convert to this other system, which I'm sure there's a huge amount of advantages that I haven't fully appreciated yet, but like just maybe logic organization and being able to troubleshoot problems. If you have something, you can just find things easier. Because the thing with Cascade is you would have like rows and rows of like stacked of different details, and it was like each one of them had lots of options, and then sometimes they would conflict or they would be in the wrong order, and then you have another emitter beside it which had lots of options, and then inside some of the nodes you'd have special options. Like it was just half the time you're just going through and going, who was that setting again that I needed to change, and just running through like a bazillion options. So I think this has probably gone to a point where it's easier to find what you're looking for, I hope, because I definitely can see that would be an area of you know, incentive to improve. All right, let's get to our sequencer file. That wasn't too bad, that tutorial. I actually, I'm glad I kind of got through it. Sometimes you do a tutorial and you just go, you get completely stuck. You're just like, yeah, I'm totally stuck. But I managed to get through it. All right, so let's add the emitter to my sequencer here. Got a bunch of stuff in here. Some lights and such. Just gonna drag the system, Niagara system, into it. Oh, I didn't think it was gonna work. It was showing red lines. There was a long time with sequencer where you could change the order of the tracks, and it was something I was so used to with Matinee, and then like, you can't change the order. Eventually they got that setting in there. All right, so we've got our it spawned. We've got our transform. Wherever it is, let's turn off the camera so I can move around. And F to zoom in on it. Oh man, it's really far away. Oh man, what's a good way to get it to move to where those objects are? Probably like, I'm sure there's like a move copy location or move here or something. I'd have to go and find the other objects. Maybe I just can move it faster than I think. Jeez. Right. Where the? Oh, we're so far away from the origin here. Let's go to the camera. I'm gonna try this out just so I don't waste my time too much here. If I pick this asset and go, is there a copy location? I always forget if this is something they can do or not. Snap object to view, snap view to object. Snap object to view. All right, let's try that. Effects. Oh, this is gonna be weird. No, that's not gonna work. Transform. Okay, I'm gonna give up. I feel like I'm pretty close, but I'm gonna give up because it's just too boring. All right, move it manually. I bet you there is a setting for it. I just don't know what it is. Whoops. Oh, I guess I could like maybe right-clicked on it from here. Snap view to object, snap object to view. Let's just try it. Snap object to view. Yeah, I guess that worked. Let's try going to the camera. And then we take the gun ricochet and snap object to view. There it is. Okay, that kind of worked. Still took me forever to do though. Oh, I gotta slow this camera down. Oops. Oh man. It's just as I was getting it in the right place. And then I go and shuffle it away to somewhere far away. See, if I was an environment artist, I would have all these tricks down pat, because this is something you got to do all the time. Okay, so here's our particle. We're going to change this so that well, basically we want to see it. And now we've got it. We need to add some sort of trigger for it. Not sure what a Niagara component will give us. Life cycle. Not totally sure if life cycle is what they're looking for, but I guess you could use it like this. All right, we'll do that as our particle timing. And we're going to want to rotate the particle maybe we don't want to rotate. So you could rotate the particle, or you could like maybe make it so that it doesn't necessarily, or I mean, basically you change it in the in the Niagara system. This is my first test for what we're going to do with our ricochet dust clouds. We're going to see if this is all right. So we'll go back to this and we'll just see if we can get some more ricochet looking stuff going on here. Interesting that we're using 3D meshes instead of sprites. So we could definitely let's see here. We definitely want like multiple types of emitters, because some of them are going to be rocks, some of them are going to be smoke, and we want them to be a lot faster. Okay, so if we do the faster and then we'll duplicate it and put rocks as some of our options, maybe even put some sprites in as well, so that we can have sort of bigger puffs on top of it rather than these little pieces. And that's pretty normal from a workflow standpoint that I'm familiar with, is just doing multiple emitters, sort of building up a bigger one. And I think that's, from what I understand, sort of a more professional workflow as well. Well, let's see here. Color wise, oh, I was going to make the speed faster. So we got drag at 12, acceleration force, add velocity from point. Make that maybe back up to 50. Maybe that's too high. 8. Acceleration force is 200. It's very high. Oh, let's make it go up. I don't even know if we need acceleration force, but this would be one of those spots where you'd be like, let's do a dynamic variable so it goes up and down. I forget how to do it. Uniform range vector. -1, -1, +1. Maybe we'll do 10. Doesn't look any different. Kill the drag. In fact, it almost seems like it's going faster. For smoke, this makes sense. Solve forces and velocity, dynamic parameters. Let me make this like dissipate differently. Oh, they just like totally disappear. What about their lifetime? Emitter state, spawn burst, spawn count, initialize particle, lifetime. Let's do 0.1 and 1, 3, 2. It really needs to move faster. But then add more drag. The drag doesn't really seem to be doing what I'm expecting it to do. Kind of want it to be like drag to bring it to a stop. All it's doing is like uniformly slowing down. Pow! So we don't need drag, don't need acceleration force, we just need really fast add velocity. What does that look like from here? Ah, I've got it rotated wrong. Okay, it's a weird angle. I don't know why it's coming off as being so far off to the side there. Now I'm starting to think that maybe I should have oriented the emitter to a different angle. That way if it's pieces of rocks, they'll shoot up and then fall back down to the ground or something, rather than me orienting my piece. But I don't know. Then it gets kind of complicated because now you're dealing with, is it interacting with the environment or not? And technically, based on my previous usage of mesh emitters, you can actually enable collisions, but that would be probably another stack modifier. Particle spawn. Where is the option that was talking about meshes? Emitter properties, emitter spawn, emitter updates. Initial mesh orientation. I forget where that is. Here it is. I can just, I just picked this thing up here? That's weird. Here's the sprite one that I've deleted. Oh, you just grabbed the main node, maybe. What's this thing? Enable isolation for this emitter. I guess that's just so that it only draws that one emitter. Let's see if there's anything in here for like collisions. I don't know. This seems a little bit far-fetched that I'm going to be like solving this one right now. We're just going to have to focus on something else. We could technically put like, I got like 4 minutes. I really don't have much time left, so I'm contemplating whether or not I try to add anything. I don't think I'll be able to do it. Customize wise, the only other thing I could really be thinking of, because I'm kind of liking the fact that it's like a smoke look. It really is blasting fast. So like, then we're getting into a situation, do we swap this out for rocks and do a rock thing? Or do we try to do the smoke thing, which means slow it back down again? And or maybe even try doing an option with sprites and maybe just keep this one a little puffball instead. And do sort of a larger smoke, a long-standing smoke for as a sprite based. So, and what that would basically, if I follow my plan right here, it would mean I'd have to bring this back down to like 2 and turn on all the drags and stuff, which is being all kind of manipulated in different ways. Oh man, drag is supposed to be at, was it 7 or something? So we're basically just putting it back to a small puff. And yeah, so we're still far, far away from like making it look good in any sense of the word. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take some more look at it potentially and see if I can find some more tutorials basically and see what else we can do with it. And then we'll look at what else we can do with maybe not with Niagara next week, but maybe next week we'll do the animation. We'll talk about rigging just to spice it up a little bit, and that way we don't have we're not just struggling through the same thing all the time. So that we can come back to the VFX and sort of improve it, or at least maybe we'll have some time to digest what specifically we want to do. At least now we've got something working that is actually playing in the sequencer, and we can probably add like the gun blast next or something. That might be a little easier. That was actually, I don't know if that would be a ribbon effects. That would be kind of, depends on what kind of blaster it is. Could be a plasma ball, or it could be like a laser shot, or I don't know. I have to think about that one. But anyway, if we do the animation, at least maybe we'll be able to see a sense of timing as well in terms of how long is the character there for, or what kind of stuff maybe we want to do for explosions and stuff. And I think most of the next week is mostly just going to be us learning how to use a rigging system if we decide to take that path. So that could be pretty extensive, to be honest. Just trying to get a hang of that plan. So I'm going to leave it there. It's right at the end of the minute anyways. Thanks for everybody for joining. Nice to see you, Philippe. And even if you may not be here anymore, but appreciated that you hung out and followed what I was doing a bit. And if anyone has any suggestions about what they would like me to work on, feel free to throw them my way. I'm always happy to take on new challenges. And I'll leave it there, and I'll see you guys again next time. Take care.